Well, Trump just managed to do what no foreign enemy ever could. He turned America's own generals against the President of the United States and commander of our armed forces. This moment marks a major shift as the generals who once tolerated Trump are now turning cold after he delivered one of the most unhinged speeches ever given to the U.S. military. And honestly, who could blame them? What happened at Quantico wasn't leadership. It was a MAGA-style campaign rally in uniform. So let's get started with the scene. On short notice, hundreds of top generals and admirals were called to Quantico from bases around the world. This was no routine meeting, and they were not even told why they were being summoned. There was speculation that there was going to be some big announcement, like going into a major war. But when they got there, this is what they got.
We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within.
President Trump is getting the silent treatment.
I've never walked into a room so silent before.
The nation's top military brass stood at attention. No applause, no cheers, in fact, no reaction whatsoever.
This is very... Oh, don't laugh, you're not allowed to do that. You know what, just have a good time.
As the 800 generals and admirals listened to the commander-in-chief, they sat bolt upright, hands on their laps. Even when he cracked jokes, you could hear a pin drop.
I'm very careful, when I walk downstairs, like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, pop, pop, pop.
What the helly? Can someone please explain the point of this? He literally summoned these generals for an unhinged pep rally, not a strategic military session. He floated using U.S. cities as training grounds, framed domestic unrest as warfare, and warned the generals that if they didn't like what he's saying, they could leave the room. But they know that if they did, there goes their future. Throughout the event, reactions from military leaders were muted. Silence, minimal applause, and emotionless stares. You see, because the U.S. military is built on the principle of being apolitical. Officers swear to the Constitution, not to a person or a party. The line between civilian political leadership and military operations is sacred for a reason. But here, that line was erased. Political speeches, ideological attacks, calls for loyalty based on alignment, it all belongs in the realm of campaigning, not command. More importantly, these were not private remarks. They were stupid enough to film this foolishness publicly to our uniformed leaders. And this right here is exactly why the U.S. is losing its standing on the world stage. Nobody takes us serious anymore, and I can't even blame them. That speech was so cringe. It completely eviscerates the boundary between political messaging and military chain of command. When you mix political loyalty demands with military authority, you risk turning the uniform into a political symbol rather than a national institution. And honestly, I don't even know who was worse at this point, him or Pete Hegseth.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth also addressed the brass in his speeches drawing fire today for targeting overweight recruits.
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
The generals and admirals traveled from every corner of the globe to attend the historic gathering, and the cost, $6 million, is sparking outrage.
I think it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and do they know the government might be shutting down tonight, and we're paying money to make it a mandatory meeting to hear from Pete Hegseth?
So you got a civilian appointee lecturing decorated generals about getting in line and getting in shape? As if the military is supposed to serve his ego instead of the Constitution? He had the nerve to talk about how no fat generals should be allowed. Meanwhile, this dude can't even do a pull-up. I swear, Pete Hegseth is out here talking like a wannabe drill sergeant who just discovered Fox News slogans. Yo, I cannot believe they pulled people off active duty from around the world just to listen to this nonsense. Like, this could have been an email. But the one good thing about all of this is that observers noted how poorly the speeches landed. What was supposed to be a show of unity turned into an open display of disapproval. The military didn't look inspired, they looked insulted. Mind you, these are seasoned generals who sat through war briefings and classified crisis updates, and yet they looked more uneasy listening to Trump and Hegseth than they do in combat zones. Trump and Hegseth tried to flex in front of America's top brass, and instead they exposed just how little respect they actually command. You could just feel the disgust in the room. Weren't inspired, they were embarrassed. They didn't fly in from around the world to be lectured by two men using the military as a political stage prop. And you can tell that the patience is wearing thin. So this might not be a full-blown revolt yet, but it's damn sure the start of one. So I think we're watching something that could be a major turning point. These are not ordinary disagreements. These are signs of institutional strain. The military is not supposed to be political. Yet today, it seems like the leaders are quietly making it clear. Enough is enough. So in the coming days, I'm sure that we're going to start seeing some firings, resignations, and plenty of leaks. Trump isn't testing leadership, he's testing loyalty. That whole Quantico stunt was about finding out who will salute him and not the Constitution. And if he keeps trying to purge the military of anyone who won't worship him, that's not patriotism, that's authoritarianism in a suit. Know your take. Are the generals turning, or will they ultimately fall in line? Drop a comment below and hit subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Until next time.